In this session, we have the honor to host Mr. Stefano Melis. Stefano is board member of Floorseed Group of Milan, but also director of Cagliari Calcio Football Club, with direct responsibility over retail, ticketing, licensing, sponsorship, merchandising, e-commerce, membership, and internationalization. Before that, he was the global branch events director of football for Nike Portland of USA, responsible of leading event marketing strategies that build consumer, athlete, and influencer commitment. The floor is to Stefano.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you can hear me all well. Thanks once again to Michael for the very kind and great introduction. And yeah, it's going to be the last session of these amazing 2 days of Italian Football Business Conference. And I feel really pleased and honored to be part of this panel. So to get back to our session, the idea here is to try to transmit a little bit of the energy of this amazing club while trying to explain how we're trying to craft a brand new international vision of, yeah, as I said before, of a 100 years old Sardinian club. And in order to do that, let's have a quick look at the table of contents. In order, for everyone's convenience, I try to split the session into 3 different buckets. In the first one, I will do my best in order to provide a quick, breakdown of Cagliari Calcio and what's it all about. Then we will directly jump into the most important time for as of today for our history. This birthday we are still let's say experiencing, because this very year 2020 Cagliari Calcio is 100 years old. And then last but not least, I will also try to let you guys understand what is our vision through, let's say, the lens of the club in terms of next plans. Well, first off, as we said, in this first slide, the idea is to try to allow you guys to continue what you probably just got through those 2 minutes of the video. There's a lot of information in this slide. But I like to think it is, let's say, communicative enough in order to really to explain what we're talking about. Cagliari is a growing club for sure, and you will understand why I'm saying that. But first off, I like to underline, as a Sardinian person, that is the 8th most loved team in the country. That is declared by more or less every big institution, from the press to the international agency, and we are keeping that as a sort of starting point for all our activities, in order really to challenge ourselves and to tell everybody, let's say, what we represent. And it's exactly like let's say, this last word that I want to explain a little bit more. You've seen again in the video, Cagliari, it's a sort of unique, let's say, case history, for sure in the Italian league, the Italian Serie A, but probably let's say at European level, being the professional team that is able to represent an entire region, which is Sardinia, for those less familiar, let's say, with our roots. That's why in Italian we love, let's say, to claim that through a quote that says "una terra, un popolo, una squadra." That in English, as you can see in the left quote over there, it's more or less one land, one heart, one team. That means that we are the team of Sardinian people in the region, but of course spread all around the world. Just to give you a little bit of figures, of flavors of that, Sardinia has populations of about 1.5 million people, which is a small number, but you have to project probably the same numbers of let's say, from Sardinians living all around the planet. The other numbers here that I think are really important to underline. First off, of course, the indicator coming from our times, social media, with a community of more than 1 million people across all the different platforms. In some one of them, the level of interaction is showing us our team as one of the top 3 in the league, staying at the same level of big monsters like Juve, Inter, or the rest of those beasts. What I like to underline is that this big growth has been done very quickly in the last 5-6 years, and of course it's also corresponding to the new property of the club, the one under our actual chairman, Mr. Giulini. And I'm mentioning that because I want to also, let's say, pay the tribute to the actual property as an impressive accelerator of this growth. I'm not going to take any credit on that, as I joined the club about 2 years ago, and I found already, let's say, an amazing situation created by the marketing team and let's say the management of our actual managing director, Mr. Passetti. Together with that, let's say you will see the rest of the figures underlined over there. Probably the most important one, the one really that it matters to me, is the load factor, because well, till the COVID was not part of our lives. Cagliari was number 1 in Italy, in Italian Serie A, in this particular area. Being ahead of Juventus, which is number 2. Of course, I want to be really honest and transparent with this audience and saying that this data has 2 sides of the medals. The first one, of course, is pretty obvious that our fan base is really, hot and happy to stay close to the team at the stadium and support and cheers the lads on the pitch, but at the same time that our stadium, the Sardinia Arena, is probably too small for us, because we're talking about less than 17,000 people. You will see later on, we have a plan on that, but at the same time, I think it's fair to underline the performance as well. Because from a TV standpoint, is always very cool and very nice to to be able to show a stadium completely packed and fulfilled. But of course, I mean, to get back a little bit to our history, as I already stated, this season is pretty special to us. 100 years of histories, and don't worry, I'm not gonna get through every single year or a decade on this one. I just want to say that everyone in the club and in the fan base is pretty proud of what we have accomplished across the history. It's true, as you can see here in this slide, we don't have a lot of trophies in our headquarters, but we are at the same time one of the few clubs in Italy, 13 to be precise, that won a league, 1970 to be precise on this one. So this year was also, let's say, another big anniversary around that stuff as well, with 50 years, half a century from that. But I mean, again, we had I think a pretty cool path, you know, and projection that showed every single year a lot of you know, authenticity, passion around our colors. The guy, I mean, in the big picture, simply, you know, is the GOAT. Is Gigi Riva, as you can see, stated in the slide. He is the all-time leading goal scorer of the Italian national team. He's probably one of the most impressive strikers of the history of football, and I mean, it's like Maradona for the Neapolitans and for the Argentinian people. Here, you know, the guy, it's like God. He's still living in Cagliari. We're keeping him, you know, really in the Olympus as a reference. And since almost a year now, he's also honorary chairman of the club. You will see over there also a bunch of what we consider, let's say, restricted Hall of Fame of the most impressive, you know, faces that were part of our club. But most important, you know, coming back to actual times, yeah, I think it's pretty important to state our mission. In order really to allow you guys also to really position in the right spot, let's say, the objective and the targets of our club with the Giurini property. We consider ourselves, you know, the entertainment branch of a bigger group. The property is also leading a big industrial reality in the chemical industry, and Cagliari needs to represent, let's say, his segment with this very clear, let's say, goal in mind. Basically, cut to the chase, we want to be always within the top 10 of football club in the Pro League of Italy at every level. And of course, you will immediately understand that I'm not referring to the position on the standings itself. That is probably the less important one, considering the rest of indicators, the turnover, the level, and the volume of the fan base, as I quickly mentioned earlier, and so on and so on. But to deep dive a little bit into this amazing year, our centenary, I try to communicate what I consider, you know, the initial sparkle, the thought starters that we took into consideration once we approached this important project. In our opinion, Centenario was small. Again, was probably more a journey, and we always like to consider that in you know, at that level. We tried, in our opinion, to approach this project, you know, like it was about, you know, creating a culture, a specific culture around Cagliari, and trying to separate this stuff from, you know, that easy approach of celebrating our Scudetto, our, you know, participation to European leagues. We simply tried to consider this event as a sort of inflection point in our history and in our, let's say, program. Basically, we didn't want to approach that like everybody else, you know, like creating, you know, simply a crest, reminding the past, remembering all the special moments, but trying really to create something unique as our futures. Of course, we try to approach that from a different angles, different perspective, and as a marketing and commercial person, of course, we took great consideration also aspects like those assets that could create value around that. And of course, I'm referring to merchandising and all the declination and all the activities that we try to scale, from a sales standpoint, from a revenue standpoint, like special jersey, trying to, of course, to communicate through that, our histories, our heritage, and so on and so on. But more, let's say, from a broader standpoint, we tried to create something that could have been considered as a sort of big experience for our fans, for our people, for our stakeholders in general. So in this slide, what I try to, of course, to do is to try to summarize our journey through 4 main buckets. Of course, the commercial one, the starting point that I quickly introduced to you, but also, let's say, trying to, amplify, this vision and this event, and of course the passion that I mentioned many times on these talks towards our people. So first off, we will see that in a minute. The football culture has been, big portion of that, and in order to amplify that part, we also engage a pretty famous signature, someone else again from our land, Mr. Antonio Maras, which is a pretty big name in the fashion industry, has been super happy to put his name next to us and helping crafting this experience on his side. What we also try to accomplish was to embrace again our supporters, and that I have to admit has been the real tough one, considering what happened to all of us, and of course I'm referring to this pandemic. And last but not least, of course, the final goal was to try to get the most of this opportunity to export the brand of Cagliari Calcio abroad, and outside the boundaries of the amazing island is hosting the club. So just to give you very quickly, a bunch of examples on the football culture side, we created a lot around a dedicated collection with Antonio, and of course kind of followed him on his own world of fashion through, of course, dedicated events. I think the picture is pretty explanatory itself, and trying of course to refer and to touch a little bit other targets that are less connected to the world of football. We did that also in official moments like PT Uomo in Florence, where we officially introduced part of our collection, and of course, as you can see here, leveraging also our players as probably the strongest assets in this way, and of course. Also exploiting and getting the most of the audience, of the special audience that is around those kinds of exhibitions and activities, with all the, let's say, the lights from other parts of the world on that sessions. Here again, other examples of how we kind of scaled this approach through the press and through, let's say, media that are usually pretty, far away from our vertical football world of the Italian newspaper. Here you can see an example of GQ with one of our coolest striker. Pavel, and in general, let's say this was the sort of leitmotif of the project itself, trying really also to not forget to be democratic, let me say, enough, and not forgetting, let's say, our fan base. That's why here I also thought it was nice to try to summarize a bunch of the activities that were part of the program, and I have to admit a bunch of them, like the three examples that are listed on the right side of the slide: the Festival of Literature, books and sport, or like the big events on the pitch, like the friendly games involving our legends and the legends of Italian national team, were of course at the very last minute got cancelled due to the COVID emergency, and we've been able to, let's say, to reach our people only through let's say virtual activations like the one we're experiencing today all together, let's say through social media and through, let's say, all the different contests we've done for them. I've also decided to keep on the slide another example of product we thought and we plan that is still a part of the program. Because within the end of this month, once our centenary year will be over, a Sky docu-film will be already be broadcasted on TV at the end of at the middle part of this month. Our people, but the entire, let's say, football fans in Italy will have the opportunity to watch that on Sky Sport, and that will be probably a sort of virtual gift that we want to give to our people at the end of the century. But again, last part was also tried to get the most of this situation in order to reach other latitudes of our planet, and China was, in our opinion, a priority. That's why during this year we also developed their local, let's say, social medias like Weibo or WeChat, and through that we started to create a community and to engage new supporters and fans through a lot of let's say contents and feeds for them. I'll try also, as I promised at the very beginning, with that said, to provide let's say sort of preview of what, in our opinion, needs to happen next, and of course after let's say these all these activities and all these months of focus on our centenary, we already kind of initiated the process that in our opinion and in our plans needs to bring the club in the future. Say, as I said at the very beginning, continue to be proud of what we've done in our history, but at the same time, being able to to write the next chapter, looking at the next challenges of the future in a modern and in the best way. And in exactly with this spirit, what we have recently launched, I believe it's a great example of this ambition. And I will take the opportunity, let's say, to drive you through a video of 1 minute that I believe perfectly, summarize this spirit and the energy that we try to merge on this project that you will see in 2 minutes from now.
Guarda da vicino, in questa maglia c'è tutta la nostra storia, i nostri colori, la nostra passione. E se la osservi bene, puoi vedere un riflesso del nostro futuro. Quando cresci su una terra circondata dal mare, impari qualcosa sui confini. Sono solo una sfida ad andare oltre i nostri orizzonti.
Yeah, and that was, I guess, pretty straight to the point in order really to emphasize what I was trying to introduce. Let's say we launched in August this new partnership that is, let's say, a few years of deal with the new technical sponsor. Adidas immediately, let's say, got the flavor of our vision and approach during the last year, and decided to be the right partner to help us think about the next level and the future. In our opinion, was a strong decision, but probably the right one also to helping Cagliari to reach different geographies through its powerful brand. We launched the collection, but we launched also a common intention, really to raise the bar and trying to elevate all the, let's say, the activities of the club in the coming seasons. In order to do that, we at the same time we decided together really to start from scratch also on different and new segments, and the women picture here I think is pretty communicative in this way. We want really to bring the club towards new challenges, new markets, and new opportunities. And Adidas will be probably a sort of accelerator of the plans and of the ideas that the club has really clear. And for the times ahead, here you can see again ideas here and pictures that are really a sort of symbols of what we want to do, like new concepts in terms of retail, also touching other industries, and kind of enabling us to be even more strong in different markets, not necessarily strict to the football pitch. We believe that the project we started this season in other markets like China, the one that I mentioned earlier, will be again and probably even stronger part of our vision. Not only, let's say, with the usual approach of establishing academies or campus and trying to teach the football the football skills, but also trying to create, you know, bridges with academic realities. And this is an example that that was at the very beginning of this year with a university in Fujian region, for which we agreed that it was a sort of first step of a longer journey. And again, you know, I'm trying simply to provide a bunch of examples of the vision for the future, but just to you know, to get back to points and topics that have already been touched even during other sections today. Even Cagliari Calcio is very you know, committed and pretty, you know, has, you know, clear plans around the importance of having a new stadium. Our project has been started already, and it's right now living you know, crucial times in order to really build the new home in about 3 years and a half from now, and in order really to allow the club to make, you know, probably the most important step forward within the process of our growth. Again, there's a lot. I try to summarize a bit the vision. I promise, you know, follow us, because there's more. So stay tuned in the next future, because you will probably discover a lot about this club and how we are committed and enthusiastic about you know, the plans we have ahead. Thank you so much for the attention. I will be available also in the breakout rooms for questions, and I really hope you enjoyed this session.
Thank you very much, Stefano. Thank you very much indeed.